miles, right? And when we did the interview that we all watched with the Iron Cowboy, and this is the gentleman that somebody help me out. Was it 100? Was it 100 triathlons? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So he did it. Was it one a day for 100 days? Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay. So a triathlon, just so you guys are clear, it's a 26.2 mile marathon that you got to run. You have to swim. Is it two? It's like 2.6 miles, and you have to bike 112 miles. Roughly. Like you got to do that in a day, and he did that 100 days in a row. And so the interview that we all watched, and if anybody here doesn't know what I'm talking about because you came in after that, just message me. I'll send it to you. Um, we were like, what was the mindset on that? What was the thinking on that? And so this is why when Monica said what she said earlier, I was like, well, this is why we have to do the reading. We have to listen to audio and take in information from people that are thinking at a much bigger level. Because when you encounter a real life human being who doesn't have any raw athletic talent, he doesn't. When you look at him, you could tell he's forged himself into that person. And one of the things he said was, well, there are three key books for me that made the difference. He talked about Atomic Habits. He said, I can't remember the third one, and one of them was Outwitting the Devil. So Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill was it predated Think and Grow Rich. He just didn't have the courage to release it at that time because that was back in the 1920s, 1920s, 1930s. People were not ready to receive that type of material. Okay, so I had already read Outwitting the Devil, but I hadn't read it in a while. So when I heard Iron Cowboy reference this book as a cornerstone of his mindset to be successful, I picked it up off of the library shelf in here, and I've been going through it rigorously, going through it. And so the three laws that I'm going to share with you are from Outwitting the Devil. Law number one is the law of drifting. Most people, now check this out, and I know Shauna and Monica will appreciate this. So the 98% 2% talk that I developed way back in 2010, 11 was based on a talk that I heard Jim Rohn give when he said only 3% of the population has a library card. And that really struck me when he said that because I was like, that's crazy that only 3%, because a library card is free. Like, why wouldn't you have a library card? I didn't understand that. So I started doing some digging. And I found another presentation that talked about 95% of the people, they do just enough to pay their bills. 5% of the people do enough to become financially fit or savvy. And so I start looking at those numbers, and I start looking at my numbers as I was building my first sales organization. And I was looking at the numbers, and I realized it's only 2% of the people that are actually showing up and doing the work every day. And that really blew me away. So that's how my talk was built and cultivated. So getting back to the law of drifting, in the book, Outwitting the Devil, he literally says 98 people out of 100 are drifting, meaning they give whatever life deals them, whatever the hand that's being dealt, people just take it and they run with it. So he's like, most people, they get a college degree, they take whatever job is going to put food on the table and a roof over their head. Whatever job is going to pay the bills, they tend to just grab that job, and that becomes the rest of their life. They allow people to come into their space relationship wise, and they just take whatever's in front of them and they figure it out from there. They just kind of go with the flow. And so because they're drifting without any chief definitive purpose, they don't have a definite chief aim. They don't have a clear, concise mental picture. They don't have a vision. that they've cultivated for their life, they drift. They just go whatever direction the wind blows. Michael Jackson talks about it in Man in the Mirror. People just go wherever the wind is blowing. So that's law number one. You don't want to fall susceptible to just drifting and falling into your habit patterns that keep you comfortable and keep you stuck. You come home from a long day of work, you sit down on the couch, you turn on the electronic income reducer to decompress, and then you have your food, you fall asleep, you get up, you do the next thing all over again. These are drifters. They're not moving with any sense of urgency or intentionality. That's law number one. So don't be a drifter. Move with a definite chief aim. That's why we talked about having those daily affirmation cards, incantation cards that you all have created. You're the author of that. If you're reading from that card every morning, you're starting your day with what? Definiteness of purpose. I have a very clear and specific outcome. So the activities and the thinking are going to get more and more in alignment with that because you're starting your day off with a new habit, which will then become a pattern, which will then become second nature. And now achieving, setting appointments, doing scripted tours, helping shoppers to switch, starting to identify other individuals that want to build with you. All of that will begin to snowball because you started with that one thing. I'm not going to fall susceptible to the law of drifting. The second law, and this is not in particular order, it's the law of caution. Most people are not cautious with how they're moving. Example, you are having conversations with people in your environment that lead nowhere. You're allowing people into your mental, energetic space with their negativity, their toxicity. Hey, how you doing? Man, you know how it is. Same-ish, different day. Okay, I ain't talking to you no more. You allow people to come in with their fears, their self-imposed limitations, and they will try to impose that on you. How many of you all have had the experience of, hey, you know, you're working really hard. Why don't you take a break? Hey, are you sure that you really want to go out and try to build your own business? And, why don't you get a safe, secure, stable job and a steady paycheck and a pension? Why don't you do that? I know you all have heard that conversation. And people mean well, but what they're saying is, I could never see myself being successful as an independent business owner. I could never see myself building a team of leaders where we're building a repeat income that's $30,000 or more a month. I could never see myself doing that. So I certainly can't see you doing that. So you having that idea, you thinking you can do that makes me uncomfortable. And I would feel much better if you took on my identity and just focused on a safe, secure job. And because you're not cautious with allowing certain boundaries with other people's thinking, that thinking will then begin to seep into your space because you don't have boundaries. Remember the phrase, there are certain people that you can talk to for 10 minutes, but not 1 hour. There are certain people that you need to listen to for 1 hour instead of only 10 minutes. And so you find yourself, watch this, you find yourself spending more time in front of the electronic income reducer, listening to other things that have nothing to do with expanding your mind and elevating your vibration and helping you become even more focused on your definite chief aim. You spend more time in consumer mode of things that have nothing to do with that than you do on the very material and energy and conversation and thinking that's going to elevate you. And that's called habit pattern. So that's law number 2. People are not cautious. You're not cautious with your relationships. You're not cautious with where you choose to work. You're not cautious with the own standards that you impose on yourself. If I'm working a job, and I told you all about this, I was working a job, and Nadia gave me a pattern interrupt. She's like, "You're wasting your time. I don't see how you're the amount of time that you're spending on this and what you're getting in return is it's a waste of time." I'm such a like a grinder. I couldn't see it. I didn't appreciate it. I needed an outside voice who understood there's more you're capable of more. And so I had to take that in, and some other things had to happen for me to wake up to like, wait a minute, that is true, you're right. So we have to be more cautious with who we have in our inner circle and who we need to keep on the outer circle. Doesn't mean you don't love them. Doesn't mean you don't want them to do well. It just means, hey, I'm not going to have those type of conversations with you because you're just operating at a level that I can't relate to. I have no desire to set my thermostat at $75,000 a year because I'm going to get a pension that's going to pay me $2,000 a month. I have no interest in that whatsoever. Okay? Third law, the law of hypnotic rhythm. There's a rhythm, which is the same thing as habit pattern, that we all fall into. So we've talked about this over and over again because we all can become subject to it. Beverly gave us a great example at the very top. Like, hey, here's this number that I've just gotten accustomed to, and it's become my financial thermostat. So that hypnotic rhythm that I'm in, it dictates that this is the outcome. So the idea that I could double it or triple it or quadruple it, it's like, wait a minute, that doesn't compute because I'm the ceiling is here. Well, that's somebody else's ceiling. It's not hers. It's somebody else's. She has to give herself permission to remove the ceiling and then start disrupting that habit pattern, i.e., hypnotic rhythm, so that she disrupts that rhythm and starts behaving and doing different actions at a higher frequency over time. Hypnotic rhythm rewards you or it's going to disparage you over time. So imagine you commit, and we've talked about this before, I'm going to make a minimum of 10 phone calls every day. I'm going to dial 10 phone numbers every day. That's 70 dials, phone calls a week. That's 280 phone calls a month. That's over over 3,000 phone calls a year. You cannot, everybody here will agree. Everybody here will agree. You will not debate me about this. It is impossible to make 3,000 phone calls, over 3,000, and not get results. I don't care what you're doing. You could be a Jehovah's Witness. You could be a Mormon. You could be selling Girl Scout cookies. You could be selling, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're promoting, it's impossible to make 3,000 phone calls and not get results. Impossible. So, by the same breath, you can engage in drifting. So now you're drifting, you're not focused. So you don't even have a definite number of phone calls you're going to make. You're drifting. You don't have caution about the influences that are around you. So now you're drifting, you're in front of the electronic income reducer, and then your hypnotic rhythm, your habit patterns, you're just doing the same stuff you've always done. Oh, I didn't make any calls today because I had a meeting at work. I didn't make any calls today because my kids, one of them got sick, and then, my spouse needed this, and then I had to stay late at work. Habit patterns. I didn't make any calls today because I had to volunteer. Those are all hypnotic rhythm. You already have that rhythm. Until you disrupt your current hypnotic rhythm with a higher frequency of different action, you're not going to change, okay? So follow the principle of it, which is, okay, my first attention is, am I a drifter? Because if 98% of the population are drifters, I've probably been a drifter at some point in time. We've all been drifters, right? We've all gotten caught up. And I used to do a lot of partying, right? Years ago, I was partying. I was drifting because I was following my feelings and my emotions. It felt good to party. It felt good to hang out, have a good time. It felt good. I was drifting. And then I would get back on course. I would go, okay, I work hard. I should be able to party hard. Well, see, I'm undoing all the momentum that I built up in working hard. If I understood then what I understand now, I would have used the law of compound, because that's where hypnotic rhythm comes in. So instead of going up focused, I'm doing work, I'm getting results, and then boom, I party. I'm all in my feelings and emotions. I feel good. It feels good, but I'm going down. I'm undoing all the work I just did. Hypnotic rhythm. So now I say, law of drifting, I'm going to make sure I'm focused. I'm going to start my day with a definite chief aim. I'm going to read my my affirmation card. I'm going to read my affirmation card. And then I'm going to get back. I'm going to go about the business of doing the actions. Law of caution. Do you understand that there are people in our family? Okay. If you look at our family, and that means in-laws, everybody, there's certain conversations that they will never bring to me because they know not to. They know not to. It doesn't mean they're not thinking it, but they know not even to broach the subject because of my energy and my focus. And like they've tried, it's futile. And they may believe that I'm wrong, and it's okay. It doesn't matter because I know exactly where I'm going. So that's the law of caution. So I've already established clearly defined boundaries. It doesn't mean that I don't have to refresh boundaries every day for myself, because I know I can be susceptible to distraction. I can be susceptible to prank videos. I can be susceptible to things that take me off, that drift me off course. I'm not talking about if you guys have a date night or a family night of watching a movie. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about those little moments, right? Those little moments where our time gets sucked away throughout the course of a given day. So I have the boundary set up with caution. I'm moving with caution. I prospect and talk to people that are sending me the right signals. Okay. I got a call coming up too. And then third, hypnotic rhythm. I want it to work in my favor. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to have more deposits than withdrawals. That is a law. Look at your bank account. Which would you rather have in your bank account? What do you want more of? Deposits or withdrawals? You want more deposits. What do you want in your life account? What do you want in your compound account so that you're getting a bigger return? Make more deposits into your business. Make more deposits with the number of phone calls. Make more deposits with the number of tours that you set up. Make more deposits with the number of leaders that you're interviewing to make sure that they qualify to be a part of your group. Make more deposits than withdrawals. That hypnotic rhythm, that habitual pattern of behavior will compound. Each day pours into the next, pours into the next, pours into the next. And see, some of you all, you get it twisted because you're thinking, well, I'm not seeing results based on, this afternoon. And this is how the human mind works because of social media, because of algorithms. So many people have been programmed for instant. I want instant results. I want feedback immediately. I put a post up at 11:04 and I don't have any likes and it's 11:06. And you and your feelings about that. You put a post up and you do 5 days where you put up a post and you do a video and nobody's like, you got one view and you get discouraged and you stop doing it because you're not getting instant feedback, instant results. Instead of playing the long game and understanding the power of compound. So putting those three things together and understanding I'm not a drifter. I'm not going to fall susceptible to the law of drifting. I'm going to use the law of caution because most people, 98% of people don't. They just kind of go with whatever's in front of them. They go with whatever like that. They're not paying any attention. If you're in an environment where you're surrounded by mediocrity and then you fall into that trap, it's kind of like the small town mentality. right? They're like, hey, you know, I met Susie when I was 16 and we decided we were going to get married. Well, because that just what's in front of you. There's no discernment. There's no aspiration for anything greater. And so now Joey and Susie get married, and then we're going to squeeze out a couple puppies, and like no forethought, no nothing. This happens every day in this country. It's nothing new, right? And then hypnotic rhythm. Unfortunately, a lot of people, they fall into hypnotic rhythm. Man, what are you talking about? You can't make more than $45,000 a year. Not around here, you can't. And then boom, that's the rest of their life. Habit pattern, hypnotic rhythm. We get a chance to leverage that, create it as we see fit so that we can use it to compound into our results. And I'm going to end it with this. You've heard me tell this story before. I can't tell it enough. Jimmy Smith was a butcher. His father before him was a butcher. Jimmy Smith never made more than $45,000 in a year. Someone introduced him to a business where if you put in the work and you learn the skill of sales, you learn the skill of cultivating leadership, you can actually create compound, you can have leverage, and you can build an income. So for the first 5 years, now, by the way, Jimmy Smith started at the age of 62. 62 years young. Jimmy Smith at 62 started, he said, boom, I'm gonna start working. 5 years, didn't make any money. Didn't make any money. He was just learning. It was painful. Well, here's the thing, ladies and gents. He was still going to be a butcher from 62 to 67 anyway. So he didn't lose anything. But you know how most people think? They say, man, 62 to 67, if I was doing something for 1 year and I didn't make any money, I'd quit. And they wouldn't be wrong. Like, I can understand that. I can relate it. But see, most people don't play the long game. Jimmy Smith said, well, I'm learning. So even though I'm losing, I'm still learning. And from 62 to 67, he made no money. From 67 to 74 years of age 67 to 74 years of age, he generated $2 million in revenue. $2 million from 67 to 74. He was going to be 67 and live to 74 anyway. That was going to happen anyway. He just kept compounding, utilizing the law of what? He didn't drift. He stayed focused. He did not drift. He understood the law of caution. Dude, you're 67. What are you doing? Why don't you just use your retirement from being a butcher and relax, man? You're old. Like, put your feet up. Jimmy Smith was like, what are you talking about? I'm going to age anyway. Life is going to keep moving anyway. I might as well keep moving with it. 67, 74, $2 million. 74 to 88. Who wants to take a guess if you haven't heard me tell this story? Who wants to take a guess? What did he earn from 74 to 88? Take a guess.
5 million.
Beverly says 5 million. Okay, that's a good guess. Any other guesses?
10 million.
10 million. From 74 to 88, because he didn't drift, because he respected his boundaries for his mindset and success, because he utilized hypnotic rhythm, he earned over $55 million. From 74 to 88, over 55 million. He's in his 90s now. See, we don't know, right? Nobody knows. You might live to 105, especially with technology and health and everything now. You might live to 110. We just saw one of the young ladies who was responsible for the GPS and on the internet. She just passed away. Tracy May something Davis. She was 95, I believe. Just Google it. Powerful, brilliant woman. So we don't know. He's in his early 90s. He has earned, as of today, over $90 million. They say, well, man, it's too late. Like, what are you talking about? It's too late. You just now starting. He was 62 when he started. Oh, you too old. He was 67 before he started making money. Oh, man, you need to retire. Put your feet up. From 74 to today, 74 to he's made over $90 million. He thinks differently. Who do you want to listen to? Do you want to listen to the person who's got their $2,000 monthly payout from their pension, who's in their 70s, and all they do is complain about their aches and pains and their arthritis and their bad knees, and they ain't doing nothing that's even anywhere near anything inspirational? Or do you want to listen to Jimmy Smith talk for a little bit? Who would you choose? Be cautious where you put your attention, because whatever it is that you're seeking is also seeking you. Thanks so much for hopping on. You all have an awesome and amazing week. We will see you next